The meeting of the two seas occurred in the Strait of Gibraltar, between Spain, Europe, and Morocco, Africa. The phenomenon is already covered in the Sea Two Colors, the meeting of two oceans. A oceanographer born France, Jacques-Yves Cousteau discovered the meeting of two oceans, the confluence of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean, which is not mixed with each other. According to him, this strange phenomenon is there are walls that limit both the water flow. According to scientists, it can occur due to the seawater from the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea from the seawater have different characteristics. The water temperature is different, its different levels of salt, water density of the water any different. Man with sense and through new research could explain the phenomenon of the late 20th century while the Qur'an descended 7th century AD, 14th century, has explained the phenomenon through his word which is found in Surah Ar-Rahman verses 19 to 20 and Surah Al-Furqan verse 53. The contents, he let two sea flows both then met. Between the two there is a limit which is not Dalam each. Qur'an Ar-Rahman, 19 to 20. And he, Allah, who let the two seas flowing, side by side, and one fresh and more salty. He made between the wall and the boundary is not transparent. Qur'an Al-Furqan, 53. 3. Fire on the ocean floor. The phenomenon of fire on the ocean floor was discovered by a geological origin Russia, Anatoly Zbykovich, and Yuri Bogdanov and scientists the origin of the United States Rona Klimt when they're researching challenge crust and fracturing his on the ocean floor off the coast of Miami. Similar to liquid lava flows and is accompanied with volcanic ashes. Volcano on the mainland it has temperatures reach 231 degrees Celsius. Although it is very hot, but not enough to heat the entire water on it as well as the whole of the water above him were not able to extinguish the flames of the heat. It's a miracle. If you guys like the cartoon, The Phenomenon of Fire in the Sea, there is a card in One Piece, the episode when Luffy and his friend were headed to the island of the human fish. Perhaps Eiichiro Oda, One Piece author, also already knew the truth of the phenomenon and integrated it. 3. The river at the bottom of the sea. The phenomenon of the river at the bottom of the sea was discovered by scientists the origin of France named Jacques-Yves Cousteau. He managed to find fresh water flowing between the salty sea water in the bottom of the ocean. Experts call this phenomenon as a layer of hydrogen sulfide, because the water flowing in the river bottom has the flavor of fresh water. In addition, this seabed river overgrown foliage and trees. Subhanallah. This phenomenon has also been referred to in Al-Quran Surah Al-Furqan paragraph 53 and he, Allah, who let the two seas flowing, side by side, and one fresh and more salty. He made between the two walls and boundaries that are not transparent. Qur'an Al-Furqan, 53. 4. Iron. Iron is one of the heavy metals are often exploited humans in everyday life. Where the origin of iron? Does iron come from our own Earth or even come from outer space? Along with the development of science, scientists found the fact that iron is derived from the sky. The science of giving information to the US that iron is heavy metals which cannot be produced by our own Earth. Rather, the iron came from the asteroid, rich in iron element, that crashed into the Earth, beginning of the formation of the Earth. Facts about the benefits of steel and iron origin have also been written in the Quran Surah Al-Hadid verse 25, which means verily, we have sent our messengers brought tangible evidence and we have sent down with them the scripture and the balance of justice, so that people can administer justice. And we sent down iron, anzalna, to him. There is a great power and a range of benefits to humans, so that they use the iron it, and that God may know who's helping, religion, and his apostles, where is God does he saw. Verily, Allah is all-powerful almighty. Again. Qur'an Al-Hadid verse 25. The word anzalna meaning down is used to designate the iron. When interpreted figuratively, said anzalna explains that iron was created for the benefit of mankind. When referring to the word literally, i.e. I descended from the sky, then gained a sense that the iron passed down from the sky. Subhanallah, the fact that scientists have just found turned out 14 centuries ago had already written in the Quran. 5. The fact that everything in the created pairs male-female companion, his partner during the night. The sky was the companion of the earth, the sun the companion moon. Everything in the universe was created in pairs. On those facts, the United Kingdom origin, Paul Dirac, successfully conducted a study that proved that the material is created in pairs. His invention called pairite. He received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1933 because of his discovery of it. Atom just consists of positive charges, protons, and the negative charge, electron, and from each something we created pairs that you will remember the greatness of God. Zechariah 8:49. According to this verse, God created that paired not only of man, but of all the things that grow from the earth and various other particles that are invisible to the eye. 6. The path of the solar system. In accordance with the development of science, we know that together, the sun, the planets and other heavenly bodies moving in each Eternia line. According to astronomers, the sun moved very quickly with speeds reaching 720,000 kilometers per hour towards the star Vega in a path called the solar apex. This means that the sun moves so far approximately 17,280,000 kilometers in a day. In addition to the sun, all planets in the solar gravitational system also runs this crossroads. All the stars are there in the universe are in a similar gesture. About the phenomena of the solar system and the path is already written in the Quran, Surah Al-Anbiya verse 33 and Surah Yasin v 38-40, and it is he who created the night and day, sun, and moon. Each of the two that circulate in the line of Eternia. QS Al-Anbiya 33, and the sun runs on the grounds its release. Thus the statute the mighty knowing. We have set for the month Manzila, so, after he gets to the last Manzila, return him as the form of bunches of old. It is not possible to get the sun, the moon and the Malampon cannot be preempted. And each circulating on line of Eternia. QS Yasin 38-40. 7. Bing Bang Boom. The Big Bang was an explosion of events that led to the formation of the universe based on the study of cosmology about the shape of the beginning and development of the universe. Based on this model, it is said that the universe, originally in an extremely hot and dense, expands continuously to this day. Among the theory of the creation of the universe to another, this theory has provided the most comprehensive and accurate explanation supported by the scientific method with observation. More details about the explanation of this theory can be seen in the posting Exoticophysics of the Big Bang, the beginning of the birth of the universe. It also delivered the Quran in Surah Al-Anbiya verse 30 and whether those unbelievers knows that heaven and earth were both formerly as a mix, then we separate them between the two. QS Al-Anbiya paragraph 30, Almighty God over all Septamia. 8. The gravity of the earth. Each of us throwing objects, the objects will be automatically going down. Any fruit that falls are definitely headed for the ground. Why it can happen? Something which led to this happening is the Earth's gravity. Gravity alone can be interpreted as between particles have the mass in the universe. The Earth has a very large mass represents the gravitational force that attracts objects big and Makakunardite Permuakanya or surrounding objects such as the moon, meteor, and artificial sadia. The phenomenon is also contained in the Quran. He created the heavens without any pillars that you see it and he put the mountains on the surface, the earth lest it doesn't wiggle you, and Menper Kembang scattered through her all sorts of animals. QS Littman 10. 9. The relativity of time. Who does not know Albert Einstein? He was one of the greatest 20th century and was instrumental in the development of modern physics/physico-theoretical. Albert Einstein in the early 20th century discovered the theory of relativity of time. This theory explains that time is determined by the mass and speed. The time can be changed according to circumstances in human history. No one was able to reveal this fact clearly before. But there are exceptions. Some verses in the Quran also has explained the existence of this time relativity in the Noble Quran Surat Al-Hajj verse 47, US letter Sajda paragraph 5 and the Quran Surat Al-Maharij para 4, and they ask thee so that doom it disjirikan, but surely God will not violate his promise. Verily a day in your sight is like 1,000 years according to the Perhitum Gamut. QS Al-Hajj 47, he set the affairs from the heavens to the earth, then, affairs, it goes up to him in one day simply applied. Length is 1,000 years according to the Perhitum Gamut. QS US Sajda 5. The angels and Jibril ascend, facing to God in a day that is simply applied the 50,000 years. QS Ma'arij 4. 10. Mount. The mountain exists or arises due to the collision of a huge slab forming the crust A stronger plate slips down while a weak plate folds up to form highlands and mountains. A great many functions, among other things, shock arrest or retailer, the disposal of geothermal power, and miscellaneous other uses. Soil enricher. The Quran describes the function of the mountain in several verses in the Quran, among others, and we have said on the earth firm mountains lest to jiggle, not with them, and have we made, anyway, on earth that the streets are wide, so they got instructions. Qs al-Anbiya, 31. Have we not made the earth as overlays, and the mountains as pegs? Qs an-Naba, 6-7. 11. The human fingerprint. Every human being, including those who were born identical twins, have a distinctive fingerprint patterns and different breathtaking. In other words, one human identifiers present on their fingertips. In the late 19th century, the uniqueness of fingerprints were found, before the majority of people assume if a fingerprint is lankic and normal without meaning. However, 14 centuries ago, through the Quran, God referred to fingerprints, which at that time could not attract people's attention and direct us about the importance of new fingerprints. Lately we understand it is also described in one of the verses of the Quran in Surah Al-Qiyamah. The contents are: does man think that we will not collect back bone belongna? Not so. Our actual power draw up back the radius of its fingers perfectly. Qs Al-Qiyamah, 3-4. Feeding the baby for 2 years. Breast milk. Breast milk is very beneficial to the development of the baby. Breast milk is the best source of food for infants and contains substances that can increase the immunity of the body. There is no man-made milk which is able to match the quality of breast milk. In the Quran, Surah Luqman v14 advocated human beings to do good to his mother. This letter explains that the best time to give breast milk to a baby is 2 years old because it gives many benefits. And we are commanded to humans, doing good, to Tudebu Bapakna, her mother had carried him in a weak state of fame, and his weaning is in 2 years. Be grateful to me in Mon to Bapakna, only the Kembalimu is mine. Qs Luqman, 14. 13. The gender of a baby. It first appeared that the affects of the sex of the child is female sperm. The result of the discovery of genetics 20th century explained that the gender of a baby is determined by the semen of men. Men's semen contained in the X chromosome that contains the attributes of femininity and Galactioan properties contain a Y chromosome, while in the woman's egg cells contain only X chromosome containing the attributes of femininity. The sex of a baby depends on the sperm that fertilize, to X or Y chromosome containing. The facts about the Quran has also mentioned Kana in Surah An-Najm. It is he who creates pairs of men and women, from the semen, when emitted. Qs An-Najm verses 45-46. The creation of man in 3 stages. In the Quranic Surah Az-Zumar verse 6, man was created in the body of her mother in 3 stages. He created you from himself, then he made him his wife, and she lowers for you 8 tails, that pairs of cattle. He made you in the belly of your mother's. Events in order of occurrence within the 3 dark. Who, do, that is Allah, your Lord, the Lord who had kingdoms. There is no God, the right to be worshipped, besides him, then how do you can be averted? Qs Az-Zumar verse 6, the development of modern biology has managed to uncover the truth of the text. The growth of the baby in the womb passed to 3 stages, 3 of darkness. The Quran uses the term the darkness because it is a process of the creation of man in the belly of the mother occurs in the womb of darkness. Pre-launch stage of embryonic. At this stage the zygote grow through cell division, later became a geographical cells that burrow into the walls of the uterus. Along with the growth of a zygote, the cells constituting arrange themselves to form 3 layers. Embryonic stage. This stage lasted 5.5 weeks. Babies at this stage is called embryo. The baby's organs and body systems are also taking shape. Fetus stages. This stage started since pregnancy month 8 to birth. At this stage babies had resembled a human face, hands, and feet. Plants that celebrate. A renowned science magazine, Journal of Plant Molecular Biologies, reveals results of research. Research that has been conducted by a team of scientists. The origin of the United States is about echolocation derived from plants. Research led by Professor William Brown was later to record and store the ultrasonic sound from plants and convert it into electric haptic waves that can be displayed to the screen of the monitor in the form of a series of lines. The surprise is, these lines form resonate God, then known as sentence prayer beads. Subhanallah, the Quran certainly have explained this phenomenon in Surat Al-Isra paragraph 44, which means, and there is no something else but instead celebrate with his praise, but you all don't understand their prayer beads. Verily he is most forgiving. Maha Penyantian again. The water cycle. The image above is a picture of the water cycle we have learned when elementary, junior high school or high school. Water is a very important component for living things. Without water there can be no living beings, including humans, can survive. The above cycle which causes the water until now are still there and we can enjoy it till now. Who set up the cycle? Surely God is able to organize extraordinary things. In the Quran the water cycle also contained in it. God says it is He who made the earth as a smorgasbord for you and the sky as a roof, and He lowered the water, rain, from the sky, and then He produces with rain that all fruits as sustenance for you. Therefore ye shall hold its allies for God, but you know. QS Al-Baqarah verse 22. God, He is the one who sends the winds, and the wind was moving the clouds and spread it across the sky according to His desires, and make it Bergumpal. Then you see the rain come out of Selina, then when downpour it down on His servants He will, all of a sudden they become excited. QS Ar verse 48. God, He sends the winds, and the wind was moving the clouds and spread it across the sky according to His desires, and make it Bergumpal. Then you see the rain come out of Selina, then when downpour it down on His servants He will, all of a sudden they become excited. QS Ar verse 48. Technically, about what is in the Firman of God in the Quran is very compatible with the results of the research scientists. At least levels of oxygen at altitude. We are indeed very lucky, because the earth is available fresh air we can breathe freely. However, the more we climbed higher, the less the oxygen levels also can we breathe. For example, if we went up the mountain to the high road for meters above sea level, if we do not use breathing aids such as an oxygen tube to breathe, we will be increasingly difficult to breathe in the air so that the chest we felt very claustrophobic. The theory we often hear at school as well as we read in the books the IPSD, junior, or senior high school. It has also been written in the Quran Al-An'am verse 125, which means whoever God desires giving him instructions, He broadened his chest to embrace Islam. And whosoever desired God Satna, God made her chest tightness again narrow, as if He was climbing the sky. So God cast a torment to those who do not believe. QS Al-An'am 6, 125. Ship Noah and Ark. Noah was one of the prophets. The story of his prowess is already often we hear the greatness in Kaital Adna, the time of study, school, landfill since childhood. The story about the greatness of the prophet Noah ship after the deluge had already passed on the Quran. Hud verse 44 that it means Hayr Mu'at, hold the earth and sky, rain, stop, and the waters Disurutkan, and He completed orders and ships that docked at the top of the hell gambling, high places, and said, the people perished to tyrants after the lapse of a decade had passed. Some researchers find valid evidence about the existence of the ship of Noah. Through research for hundreds of years and observe the results of satellite photographs, one of which is believed to be the ship's heritage trail is located in the mountains of Ararat, Turkey, adjacent to the border with Iran. The remains of Pharaoh. Who is not familiar with the story of Pharaoh? Moses very familiar. Lingua us all. Pharaoh is the title used for the rulers, religious leaders, and political leaders in ancient Egypt. He was claiming to be God. And because of his arrogance, Pharaoh drowned at sea while chasing Red Prophet Moses. In 1975 the president of Egypt to the Kingdom of France offered help for researching, studying and analyzing the mummy of Pharaoh, Ramses II, which is very famous. Ramses II reportedly drowned in the Red Sea when chasing Moses and his followers. Led by Professor Dr. Maurice Bucaille, The study did find the fact that there are remnants of the salt that is still attached to the mummy remains as evidence that the pharaoh died due to drowning in the sea. In addition, it is also known about the bodies that issued from the ocean, cared for, and made mummy to be durable until now. In the Quran have been explained in the letter Yunus paragraph 92, which means, so today, we leave thee, O Pharaoh, regardless of the bad and good, which does not animate. Swallowed sea, to be a sign for people good, so that they may take heed. And, remember, truly most people off guard against our signs. The dark ocean floor. We know together that humans aren't able to dive in the sea with a depth of below 40 meters without specialized equipment. In a book titled Oceans Are Also Described, at a depth of 200 meters is hardly encountered light, while at a depth of 1,000 meters there is no light at all. The dark seabed conditions recently can be known after the discovery of advanced technology. However, the Quran has explained the state of the ocean floor since thousands of years ago before the technology was found. In the Quran Surah An-Nur verse 40 describes the scientific facts. Or like the darkness in a sea of deep, which is covered by the waves on top of it, anyway, on it, again, cloud, darkness overlapping into, when he pulled out his hand, he can they ever saw it, and, he who there is no light, him, was given by God or they ever he has a light,